the title of this video is quite apt for the content, really. It's absolutely perfect. So, maybe I am the arsehole. Maybe. I mean, naturally, I don't think I am, but I think in the eyes of many, yeah, I am. I could take that. But in reality in my life, I feel incredibly insulted, and that's really what I get to. People can have their own opinion by the end, but I'm the one processing everything. So, when you process things in your life, I think especially things that have substance, there's going to be ups and downs. So it might make you seem flaky, because one minute you make peace with this, next minute you're really insulted by it. So then you feel just really, really frustrated, to be totally honest. And that's where I am at the moment. Now, with my life, I am very spiritual, so I know there's deeper connotations to things, but it doesn't mean that I find peace in it either. So, even if on a human level with people, I get really frustrated, but I also get frustrated with spirit as well, like the universe, with the hardships I experience. So I find it incredibly insulting. So, I can get quite reactive, I guess. So I've spoken in the past, or even quite recently, about the work, the books I have in progress, and hope to have them out soon. At this moment in time, I won't have them out at all. I'm not even bothering. I'm so fed up that I'm not even. You could call it down in tools, but I just feel I've done enough in my lifetime. Personally, I feel I've done enough, and I don't feel it's been appreciated. I don't think anything in my life has been fair, and I feel quite justified in saying this is enough. I've already edited 5 chapters, so like there's about 37, 40 chapters to the book. I've already edited 5 that I would consider publishable, like they're really good, and I think they will help people. But it's still, even though I've done 5, and it's like they're quite good, deep chapters. It's very important about empowering yourself. And I've no doubt if the whole book was done, great for people. But then look at the ones I've already done; they're already great. So like I say, so I feel quite insulted at the moment that it hasn't been successful, and the universe could do something about it, but chooses to hold me back. And like I say, a lot of the time, I just feel if I was anyone else, I'd be incredibly successful off the back of what I've done, and yet my life is so hard as a consequence of what I've done, which makes no sense at all. Like, it doesn't make sense. So why should I put even a minute any more to it? So like, this could be the last video. So that in itself was enough for me to create a video, and I was going to do it, but I thought I'm not even going to do it. I'm not going to keep yo-yoing between my emotions. 1 minute I'm making peace with this, the next minute I'm frustrated, the next minute I'm okay. Even I'm fed up with the fluctuating in mood. But it all comes down to that one thing: feeling deeply insulted, like in every area of my life. And once I recognized that on a deeper level, I just went, you know what? I don't care who it is, whether it's source spirit, whether it's people. If I'm not being supported properly here, and what I do isn't appreciated, or I'm not recognizing it being appreciated, then I'm not doing it. I'm not a dancing monkey over here. Let me just put a fan on. So yeah, like I say, perhaps I am the arsehole. And like I said, in people's eyes, I will be for sure. Like many people's eyes. Because although I get frustrated on this end, when you set boundaries with people, it's naturally going to irk them. So can you feel comfortable with other people perhaps struggling to make peace with the ending of situations? And the thing is with me, I can make peace with that. Now, I understand there's always going to be a consequence, but the consequence isn't my problem. So again, it's not going in a very good direction there, is it? But the reality is it's a consequence of the way people have treated me in my life. So if I feel, again, I'm going to keep saying insulted at the moment because that's a real bit hot topic. Then why should I put up with it anymore? I've got family members who I have cut off. Some more recent perhaps don't even know. There's periods of my life where I'd have argued with the best of them. I could have got in huge arguments with people, and I can hold my own, believe me. I don't want to, again, arrogance is going to come through anyway, but it's very rare I lose arguments because I see through people's crap too much. and I'm quite calculating the fact that I watch people. Um, doesn't mean I won't lose an argument in the future. I'm quite, I'm humble enough that I can understand. I can accept losses, and I can accept it's all learning experience. It's just, but you've evolved enough, you've learned, so it's a little easier to be on top for the majority of the time. But yeah, so there's people in my life who maybe you'd consider fragile. Maybe they can't handle rejection, and it might push them over the edge and things. And you think that's a lot of weight to carry on your shoulders. So what? I should continue to feel abused by them in some way, let down, taken for granted. Like, why should I put up with that just because maybe they can't handle rejection? It's like, that's not going to happen with me. So the responsibility on people's lives it doesn't sit with me, it sits with them. I am responsible for my life. I'm not going to go deep into the individuals and who they are, because some I do consider vulnerable, like mentally. And I think me maybe drawing public attention to an individual could push them over the edge one day. It might start spiraling. I'm not here to do that to someone. I do take it serious, the responsibility of things like that. But it doesn't change the fact that boundaries must be set and people must be cut off from my life. And that's just a decision that I make. And ultimately, once I do it, I stand quite firm in my convictions. Like, I wouldn't just do it for no reason. That's the thing. So if people don't quite understand and I haven't explained it, it's because I don't feel I need to validate it. It's quite obvious. If you can't see it, then that's not my problem. Like I say, with people, especially in arguments, you just go around in circles a lot of the time. People naturally sort of favour their own opinion, which makes sense, doesn't it? But it doesn't mean their opinion is naturally going to reflect yours. So we could go around in circles. They might think they've won an argument. You're now in their life. It's like, well, that serves you, doesn't serve me. It hasn't changed my opinion, but clearly you're terrified of being rejected. Something to make peace with. A lot of times it's a consequence of your actions. Again, we start looking and thinking, I feel insulted in my life, but like I said, perhaps I am the arsehole. Maybe it makes sense if I am, to be totally honest, because it's like I'm the one that seems to be losing all the time over here. I seem to be the one with a really hard life. So, and I'm the one alone a lot. So, but it does start to point towards that, doesn't it? It's like, okay, let's start leaning that way a little bit here. Let's make sure. But it's like I make peace with that. I talk a lot about, even in just relationships and things. And, we all crave intimacy and love and a bond with someone. But then there's a big part of me that just says, I don't even know if I want it anymore. Like, a big part of me wants it, another part doesn't. And sometimes like people put people on pedestals and then they just let you down and it's like disappointing. So one minute maybe you crave a specific person and you think that would be a great life together. The other side, you hold them accountable and you think, I'm disappointed entirely. I don't think that person is enough for me, There's all those things. We're all flawed to a degree, But sometimes I think I'm too much for people. And I accept that. I do accept that. And I do take that quite serious, because I can be quite stubborn. I can be stuck in my ways. I can be like ambitious to a fault at times, Like, I'll talk on topics that maybe you shouldn't be talking about. Maybe they're risky topics that could have consequences in your life. All those things. Or maybe I am a little bit boring to some, And it's like I wouldn't want to be boring in someone's life. I wouldn't want to hold them back. I take a lot of things quite serious, So I can't help but think, well, the way I am, it fits me perfectly. And it probably won't fit many. I know I wouldn't want to slow someone's life down or be a hindrance. So it probably is best that I just stay single my whole life, like for the rest of my life. I think it probably serves me, it probably serves everybody better. I wouldn't want to be a fool in someone's side, If you don't get in a relationship, there's no problem, is there? Like, if you think about it, no problem. So I'm leaning more towards that every day. I am becoming more and more reclusive, but I'm kind of making peace with that side of my life, Like, yeah, there's the potential not to be, and there's a potential to have a relationship, have love, have these experiences, be more broad in your lifestyle. But there's also another side that's quite content just to be like a hermit. I'm good like that. I mean, you would say it typifies an author, really, because I think the authors have that potential like crazy, don't they? That I could literally, as long as I have enough money to survive on and, I have things to indulge in every now and again, I could be left to my vices and just be stuck in a room for the rest of my life and I'll be quite content, That's quite crazy, isn't it? But that's the potential one way or another. And again, that doesn't fit with society standards or maybe people's expectations of you. So again, you're the asshole. So okay, hands up, man. Guilty as charged. Guilty as charged. So I just think in the eyes of many, I am. And, I'm someone, I have thick enough skin, I can take it. It's like, yeah, okay, I'm the asshole. But you think deep enough. I've helped so many people for so long that I struggle to see the arsehole stage in it. I get it when I'm reactive. I get it when I argue back. I get it when I'm not what people want me to be. That's important because people have a habit of dimming you or expecting you not to grow, not to evolve beyond them. And if you do, you're a problem. That's been an issue in my life. Again, I'm not going to point out names anymore because I don't think it's healthy. I don't think it's helpful. But there's people in my life who I've helped either financially or I've given my time and effort to, like considerable time and effort on a very deep personal level when they've gone through a crisis. I've helped them through said crisis and I've watched them heal beyond it. And quite often, once people heal beyond it, I think personally I give them a sense of expectation that others are much like me in the sense that I am quite selfless. So when I give my time up, there's no attachment to that. I have no expectation. You owe me nothing. Unless something's been agreed beforehand, you owe me nothing. I don't have like that sort of, ideals. It's like it doesn't sit right with me that people expect things in return when it was never said. It's quite manipulative, But I think when you do kind things and you're good at heart, I think people naturally start to maybe expect that other people are like that. So then they dismiss you, especially if it's a romantic potentially connection. Maybe they think it's easier over here, or this person will be, this person's just as kind. They're very similar. And not realizing that most people wear masks. Most people are not sincere. So they're not genuine. And you fell for it. And now you're vulnerable. You're going through another cycle of learning through another crisis when the potential was there for us. That's happened a few times in my life. So it's not just one specific individual, but if anyone from the past is watching this and it sort of hits a nerve, it's like, yeah, he was probably one of them too. And that's life. Again, I'm the arsehole. I'll take it. So I'm the arsehole that sets boundaries. Okay. Like I said, it's just so many layers to my life. There's been like, even in workplaces and things, you go in with the best of intentions, but you find the workplace is toxic. You have people who sabotage others. They elevate themselves at your expense or others' expense. I don't put up with things like that. So I'm quite vocal when there's corruptions and things are not right to a decent standard. I will start snapping back. I will never be a victim of my life. That's the thing. So to corrupt inept leadership, I am an absolute thorn in their side. To leaders who actually are inspiring and supportive, then I have their back, So again, it's like, what version are you as to whether you're going to like me or not? So I've had huge problems in workplaces, and it's frustrating because, of course, that affects your finances. That's really where I'm deeply frustrated in my life at the moment. And I am trying to be reflective about experiences I've had, how I can move forward, how I can prosper a bit more. And it's getting just hard for me. It's getting really, really hard because when you've had numerous experiences, because I'm not someone who's just stayed in one job my whole life and that one experience defines my outlook. I've had many jobs and they've all had a similar pattern of abuses of power, poor leadership, people who posture, they're not qualified. And you get rivalries, you get people who just want what you have. They want to, it's all this nonsense. And usually terrible work conditions, more is expected of you than is reasonable and all those things. So it's just ridiculous. And I'm sure other people can attest for things like that in the workplace too. And they're fed up with it. And I'm deeply fed up. So where is a genuine place that appreciates the work you do? It's within reason. You're not a robot. Yeah. And then you want to go the extra mile because it's fair. All I'm asking for is things that are fair, and I've never had fair in my life at all, like ever. I can't think of like a moment where my life has been reasonable. Like, it's always like I'm the one fighting against the odds. I'm the one fighting against the system. I'm the one having this argument here. I'm the one having to let this person go. I'm the one always feeling betrayed. You know, job interviews are just as much about what you want as what they want. But of course, you're the one on the back foot because they're the ones with the opening that has many applicants, you know. So, of course, they've got to have, people do paint the perfect picture and you step into it, maybe it ain't so perfect. But anyway, so that's something I'm working through at the moment because my finances are terrible and I don't think it's fair. Like, if you just look at the books there, that on its own would suggest you think if I saw someone had an array of books, I would assume they're being successful in their life. Especially when the books are really focused on helping people. You'd think you should be thriving, you know? My life is a misery. It's really hard. I see people around me who I consider toxic, and they can have takeaways whenever they want. They can indulge in whatever they want. And it's just like, where's the balance in life? Like, I'm sorry. In my mind, they're the asshole. They're the asshole. And yet, all indications based on my struggles would be that I am the asshole, in fact. Ah, it's interesting. Okay. So I have to have no morals to get by in life. That's what it feels like. Like, you have to have no morals. Well, that's interesting. You know, I refuse to be anyone other than myself, so I'm not going to just be immoral. I have standards. But then that also takes me to Spirit Source. I feel incredibly let down. I understand there's a bigger picture and there's a plan in place. Whatever they see it as, I don't necessarily agree with. And there will be times I'm deeply frustrated. But what I've noticed over the past year, my frustration has deepened and like incredibly deep to the point where I haven't budged a lot. You know, I'll do the videos like I do here, even though they don't get anywhere, like in terms of views. And the books, you know, they haven't really grown. They have the odd sale here and there, you know. I see a little bit of progress sometimes and then it deflating because it doesn't continue. So it's just not like, I don't consider it fair. So in other years, I would have just got on with the books anyway, and that's why they were released. Over the past year, I've naturally lost sort of willpower and interest at times, and it's got to the point where it's quite interesting because other years it would have been done. Like last year, the book came out. I think it was about August, and that was a push because normally they come out about May. So obviously, I was getting a bit more slower, if you guess, because it's almost like I was delaying last year as well. Actually, funny enough, but I managed to do it. And it could have got to the point like it is this year, where we're now towards the end of October going into November. It's not looking like it's going to be done. And that could have happened last year. But that book came out. This year, I actually don't think it's coming out this year. I know even just yesterday's video, I think it was, or the day before, I said I'm getting on with it. And I had every intention just to suck it up and get on with it. But that's because it was flowing. Like I was enjoying the process. Next day, I feel let down. The next day, I feel quite bitter and resentful. So I'm like, you know what? This has all been quite an insulting journey, to be totally honest. I've given everything. I had a good day there. It's going to be a grind now, and it's going to be a hard month, like a terribly hard month, to get this book finished. Like it's going to require me to give up any sort of potential enjoyment, and literally the only focus of my attention will be the book. And I can't help but think, for what? For what? Like, even if the next book took off and it was the one thing that was the catalyst and it sparked it like fireworks and it just made everything successful. Well, I'm pretty sure the last 6 years deserve to be successful too. Like, you know, I know some people think we'll just get it done. It's like, I had the same attitude with every book. Believe me, I thought the first book deserved to be successful and I expected it to. It didn't happen so much. It was to be honest, it did okay at the beginning. And then I unpublished it for a specific reason, and then I put it back, and then it slowed. It just lost momentum. So there's that. Then I did the second book, expecting it to be a breakthrough. Then you do the third book. Then you do the fourth book. Then the fifth book. In all honesty, the two books that have probably sold the most is A Father's Daughter, because the momentum initially, and it has sold a few copies, but in its original version, I've fine-tuned the grammar and things now as well. And Losing Mind to Find Your Soul. They're the two biggest if you're going to talk about it in terms of, they're not huge sellers though, it's just that they've sold. You can probably tell by the way I'm talking now, I'm pissed. I am deeply, deeply annoyed. So I don't feel personally, like if we're going to talk about like what I should be doing and the fact that it's your legacy, your universe needs you to do this, it's like, well, where's my blessings? Where's my support? I give and give and give. What do I ever get? Obstacles, frustration, hardship. I have to either get in debt to have things that we could say shouldn't have, but these are things other people take for granted. I have to get in debt for, I have to sell things all the time. Where's the balance? So I'm selfless because I sacrifice. And then to have things, I have to go through immense hardship. And other people just get things willy-nilly, like it's just handed to them all the time, And it's like, this is not fair. This is not fair at all. I've given up everything for huge parts of my life, like deeply huge parts of my life. I supported my ex-partner for very serious, like, issues. Like, I'm not going to go into her life. I've covered parts in books, but it's like, I sacrificed. But money was hard because of it. So I've always risked money to do the right thing. So I very rarely had it. And then I watch other people be immoral. And they have all the indulgences. They have everything. Now, I know life isn't all about that, but you'd expect things to be fair at some point. And that's just one layer, of course. And then you take away the money side. You think about the relationships and personal connections. Most people just let me down. So there is a level of loneliness in my life. But at the same time, I wouldn't have it any other way. I couldn't put up with people taking me for granted. I can't put up with people who don't have the same outlook on life as me. You don't want just to be surrounded by the wrong people, just to have company. I mean, I don't. So if it's someone who doesn't share similar personality traits and things like that, and so our humor doesn't match and things like that, and just little things. It's like that's no good to me. I'll be bored shitless, and so would the other person, and that just causes issues in itself, wouldn't it? So I'm not looking just for the random company. But it's frustrating that those you've invested in or you saw potential in, it's just let you down over and over again. And it seems to be everyone. It might seem like it's picking out specific people, but overall, they're all the same. It's quite crazy. Even people, look, I don't want to be too critical of people who I feel have had a positive contribution to my life and then let me down, because I don't see it quite like that. I think we all have a journey in life. We all have a purpose. And I think sometimes we flow into each other's life for growth. And it might be someone helps me grow, or I might help them grow. So it's not personal when it ends. But sometimes it ends in not the best of ways, and it feels insulting. Maybe it feels insulting to me, or it might feel insulting to them. But with some specific people, I do look on and think, yeah, that had to end for our own growth. But I do consider it special. I wouldn't have them back in my life. I don't do do-overs. I very rarely do do-overs. And when I say rarely, I don't do do-overs. So we're not talking about two specific people here. In terms of like a huge impact on my growth, it's on my spiritual journey. So earlier on my spiritual journey, back in 2020, like that was when I had my huge spiritual breakthrough. And since then, I've had huge things happen, and the growth has been mental. It's been crazy. And it's helped me figure out more about who I am and my connection to spirit, our purpose for being here. And I've covered all these. You just go on my spiritual chapter on YouTube. But one of them was Kristen, who I had a lot of signs someone's going to come in your life and you're going to be like powerhouses or something. It's crazy. And I kid you not, there's things that was happening, and the signs about October-ish. And then in December, just towards the end of December, I just happened to post their content. But yeah, I don't reach out to people. I never reach out to people. But it seems to be people reach out to me when they feel something. And they reached out to me. And yet they're the ones that had more followers than me. They had all the attention. They were already doing what I was to be doing later, So I was naturally magnetized to them because I guess I was seeing a lot of my potential in them for different ways, And we collaborated on Lose Your Mind to Find Your Soul, like literally the first edition of that. There are things that happened after that wasn't particularly helpful. I'll discuss it slightly. This isn't me attacking them, because I have a deep amount of respect for a certain period of our life, but I wouldn't have them back in my life. Just to put that in context, they helped me see who I am, and they really were a big source of like inspiration, I guess, to a degree. But really, we aligned, and it was the first time on my spiritual journey like I had a deep connection to someone, and I recognized that I'm not alone on this path. You know, there's other people that get it, and it's like you feel really, it feels like family. You know, like soul family. And we probably are soul family. I don't know, but I don't think all soul family have to stay together. I think you've got, again, we've all got a destiny. They go off, do their destiny. I go off my destiny. It's not about latching onto each other, you know. But I do hold her quite well in my heart to a degree. But again, that's a betrayal at the end that I consider. But it was like an intense period of our life, about 5 months or so. You know, we worked on a book about 3 months, but it's like 5 months together, and then it's like okay, I don't want to speak bad of people, but I think some people get like an inflated ego, and it goes unchecked. So, like, for instance, I was the one doing the writing. I was the one doing the editing. I'm the one that published it. She was just giving me like voice notes, and sometimes some things in writing, but she didn't like writing. She had like ADHD and things, and it's like working with that, you know. So I'm someone who's very, very like regimented. I'm very focused, you know. I don't like dilly dallying. I don't like waiting. And she sometimes went missing for like 2 weeks. You wouldn't even hear from her. And you think, shit, what's going on? We're in the middle of this. And then you just get some voice notes, and it'd be up to me to manage it, and then we'd have conversations. But I don't want to go too far with this. So when the book released, all of a sudden they didn't want anything to do with it in terms of like promoting it, didn't want to talk about it, didn't want to do anything. And yet I was like, what? We've worked on this. I've done a huge amount of this shit. Like, to be honest, like that was the least you can do, is at least share it with people. Let's get some momentum. And then there was other things in life, like someone else I met through them that in the past they act like they were the best friends, and it was like they were being quite insulting to them, you know, all these different things. Anyway, so their character was changing, and I didn't like it. And I don't care how tapped in you are, how gifted you are, whatever, you know. I don't put up with disrespect, and if I think a situation's run its course, I'll move on. And that made a bit of an issue, because you're moving on, but you're like, we've done this together. So whenever it's sold, I'd send half of the royalties and things like this. I would do things. But then a situation happened, like maybe a while later, a few years later, a couple of years later, I think it was. And I had a session with, like, I met someone else came into my life. And that was Zach. I can't remember what his name was now on TikTok, to be honest. We had a great connection. People were seeing our videos together. We was doing great. And he was opening me deeper to my spiritual gifts and the pitfalls and all this. It was a great experience for me. It was eye-opening. Again, someone that's really established, like they're a medium, they can do all sorts of things. And then through very deep sessions together, it was apparent that we're very similar on it. We've got a similar path, just in different ways. I'm more a ball in a china shop, but that's my role, you know. So people were magnetized to them, some were magnetized to me. He was far more calm, you know. So, but he took. I felt he's a bit more sensitive. Should we put more sensitive? And someone like me, I struggle with that. So there was like clashes slightly, but it was more magnified than I thought it was, you know. So sometimes I might think something or say something, and I just think I'm just speaking honestly and frankly, and it might be insulting to them, even though it's not about them, you know. So things like that, and I'm like, my mind can't wrap around it, but to them it's deeply offensive, and I'm like, I don't know where you. So if it stands to reason, we couldn't possibly have stayed in each other's lives long term, because it's just ridiculous, like two opposites in some way. But it doesn't change the impact they had. And through a very deep session we had together, like in terms of channeling and things and tarot cards, all sorts of stuff, it came through that, like, he had literally a channeled situation where he got a message through that I had to remove the books. Kristen had been compromised. I don't want to be too deep here or say anything too bad, but like dark entities on the other side. And so some of the things she had said weren't true or accurate. And I had to re-edit the book. So what was going to happen was they wanted Zach to read it, but Zach was a bit busy. And then come and then find the bits that are wrong. But because of my lack of patience, I just thought, and it's going to get complicated, so let's just call it quits. So I just said, you know what? What about if I just remove every part that she ever did? And I'll just do my own edition of this book. It's literally just me. And it was agreed that would be fine. So weirdly enough, I did the book and I did the edits and I did everything asked of me. So he was surprised about how humble I was. He didn't expect that of me. He said, I was surprised by the fact that you would just remove the books like that. Like, I thought you would fight about it. I said, well, if it's for Spirit, I'll do whatever they need me to do, you know. It's for them anyway. But anyway, so as I was doing the edits, I was using my tarot cards. Is this okay to release? Because I thought it was finished. And it was like an absolute firm no. And I thought, what? How can you no? Then in my mind, I was like, oh, I forgot something. So I removed that. Then I asked, and it was yes. And it was like all positive, you know. And that was back end of 2023. So it's 2 years ago now, which is crazy. But anyway, so yeah, it's just unfortunate, you know, to that. But one of the things that come through that session, weirdly enough, I'm just talking quite frankly here, is Spirit wanted me to, although what they said, I'm not here to elevate. They just said you're higher vibration than Kristen, so you're here for like you like literally. My purpose is bigger than her purpose, and yet she felt she was above me, and I was like, I'm not. I don't care. I don't really care about none of that. But from Spirit's point of view, our connection had run its course. It was time to split us apart, pretty much. But the one thing they want me to do is appreciate her contribution to my journey, which I do, you know. But anyway, there was other things said, but it's like I'm not going to go on too deep with that. But anyway, so I've done what's expected of me. How other people interpret it is none of my business. You know, I've just done what I'm supposed to do. But like I say, me and Zach went our own ways, and because of the way it ended and his, I think, sensitivities, I can't trust people who I don't think have strength and character to see things through. Or, you know, if I think you're going to leave at the first sign of a bit of just something that's just the opposite, you know, if you have an argument or something, or there's just a misunderstanding, it's like if you're going to take exception that quick, then that's no good to me, you know. And there's no point once I'm successful, people just coming out of the woodwork. I'm not saying that would happen, but it's like, don't come chasing me. You know, you had the chance to be there for that and leave it amicably, even if it was just like leave for a while. You're going on your own journey. It's like, that's fine. You know, you're going on your journey. Maybe we bump it. It wasn't left like that. So, although they were there for a big transformation in my life and they were huge input. So that's what I'm saying about the fact that sometimes you have incredible people in your life who you won't forget. I will never forget them too. And it's quite interesting, like how it just randomly happens. You know, they just happen into your life. But they also leave, you know, and it just seems to be the story of my life is that no one ever stays. And I've kind of like made peace with that, which means I'm less likely to get into connections because I know it'd have to take someone special for me to even risk it. It's like, it's not about risking it because I let people leave, you know, I don't hold on to people. If you want to go, go. But it's not worth the hassle sometimes, unless it's someone quite remarkable and that interaction is going to be quite defining in your life. If it's that big, then yeah, for sure. You know, it might vary. And I don't mind if it's only for a short period. It's really how things end that annoys me, to be totally honest. It's so bitter. But I'm quite reflective. So, like, for instance, I might see the good in those people, but they might actually think I'm a complete and utter arsehole in their eyes, you know. And it's like, okay, I don't know. I never understood it. So I still don't understand to this day the issue someone had. Like when I talk about Zach, I mean, it was a culmination of things, I think, that bothered him the most. But I think, so sometimes I might think of the thing that was the thing that irritated him, but might have been a culmination of many things, and it was just the last straw, you know. But I don't know. Some people don't explain themselves very well. But effectively, one of the things he didn't like was that I referred to the fact that I feel like I'm Spirit's puppet and I'm sick and tired of being treated like a puppet. But then he took exception and felt that I was saying that he's also a puppet. And I thought, I never said that. I don't know where you're getting that from. So like, that's mental to me. Like how you can connect dots that I never said, you know. I still can't make peace of it because I just think it's mad. That's mental to me. But again, from their point of view, makes sense. I don't know. And that's 2 years later. I still can't figure it out. So it's like, it's just sometimes you're going to be opposites, I think. But then I think about that though. Got two remarkable people who I feel have let me down at some period of the journey, although they've been a huge catalyst. And then think of other people who haven't had such a substantial impact on your life. Like, you're not really going to find it hard to let them go, are you? You know, maybe they want things from you, but they don't give anything. You know, if you look at like where I'm frustrated, the lack of growth, success with the books, Do you know, like, it's quite obvious if people in your life who genuinely love and care for you had just supported a little bit, they could have had some momentum, and my life wouldn't be so bad. Like, what? So they're comfortable watching me struggle. It makes them feel that they're okay with that. So what does that say about their respect of me? So why should I allow them to stay in my life? I've had people in my life, family members, who maybe say they're worried about me because they know I'm alone, they know I'm struggling with money and things like that. Now, I'm not saying people should be taking care of me, but I mean, every now and again, it wouldn't hurt just to offer to help. You know, only a little offer. I'm not again. If you buy a book, you gain from it anyway. You can read the book. You've got something tangible. I'm not saying just give me money for free. But you could invest a little bit. No, is that too much? One book? No, okay. And I watch people long enough. And I think with family, you have like a bit of a grace period. You give them a little bit longer than maybe you would other people, like substantially long. I'm 42. I've given people long enough. I've given them the best part of my life. Now I've cut my losses. Now, people might take exception to that, but it's not for me to worry about it. And again, it might make people vulnerable because some people have deep issues in their life, and it's like, right, but I still can't. I can't. There's a line that has to be drawn somewhere. I can't just live my life worried to take actions because someone's vulnerable and you don't know they're going to handle it. It's like, that's not my problem, or you're going to have to learn to handle it. I'm not someone's pet or toy or just like servant, you know. It's like, that's not happening with me. I'm more than comfortable cutting my losses and just walking away and literally not looking back. Like, it bothers a lot of people because they don't understand it, and then all of a sudden they want to be part of your journey. It's like, you've had long enough. You've had long enough. I'll be the arsehole. I'll be the arsehole in your story. It's fine. That's fine. So what I want to show is the issue I have with spirit. Let's go there. I've worked my arse off. I don't think people reading my books would think, well, there's a reason that's not success. That doesn't even make sense. That's what they'll think. I think personally, if people was to read my book, you'd go, well, that's quite deep. You know, to be honest, you wouldn't understand. It wouldn't make sense. Let's put it that way. I'm going to show different areas of my thing, just because I'm just the layers here. So bear in mind, I'm not going to go TikTok because I've deleted TikTok. I did a whole video saying social media's gone. I did thousands of videos on TikTok. That was a longer period. I've been on TikTok since about 2020-ish. And it was like videos every day. I've got thousands of videos, multiple videos. There was periods where I did way too many videos. And that's all gone. I don't care. I don't hold on to shit. I don't care. So that's gone. But YouTube has 651 videos so far. I don't know how many I'm going to keep making because I'm getting a bit fed up. And yeah, I'd rather just make myself happy somehow. But let's look at that number there. 418 subscribers. I never expected to go up. I always expect things to go down because it's the story of my life. You know, story of loss. It's all that happens in my life. So that I never expect that to grow. It does seem to grow one at a time every now and again, weirdly enough, but I always expect it to drop. Sometimes it goes down, sometimes it goes up. It doesn't never really goes too big. But yeah, anyway, growth's growth. It's not like I don't appreciate growth. But let's have a look at that, shall we? These are my recent videos. Let's have a look at the views, because that's what's important. I'm not asking someone to deeply invest in me, but I just want a fair playing field. Let's have a see how many views I've got. One view. Obviously, that was yesterday, I think. Or yeah. And then these ones here, look. If you look at the consistency, 20th, 22nd, there was a period where I just said I'm not going to do any more videos. This one is annoying me. I love that video. But again, like I said in another video, when I changed the setup, recording's completely ruined on that. I can't even share it because the video, it literally 1 minute of audio and the rest is either silent or completely mental. Like, it's distorted. So unfortunately, that's a waste. But anyway, forget that one. So we've got 1, 2, 2, 7. And we've got 14 on that one. 5, 41, 1, 2, 9. 178 on a gaming one. 42, 3, 10. 172 on that one. 1, 2, 3, 10, 20. I seem to get more on gaming content than I do on deep, meaningful content, you know? And obviously that's just some, but that's 30. I'm not going to keep going through every page. They're all the same shit. In fact, they're worse. Or we do one more, shall we? Should we do one more? Just to, let me try and go page next. We'll do one more and we leave it there. 522, 11, 2, 9, 73, 19, 41. But the higher ones are the gaming ones. 2, 2, 2, 3, 7, 4, 57. That's a gaming one. 4, 17, 3, 138. You can see it's VR. 7, you know, oh, look, there's 1,000 or something on there, but a gaming one. I didn't even know that. So anything of substance, no growth, nothing. So all these videos where I'm literally talking to myself. Now, one day, maybe they'll pick up and there'll be a lot more viewers. But at the time of this, I've been doing it for ages with nothing outstanding. And yeah, I think that was a deep video. That was a deep video. I really like that. No one's seeing it, which makes sense. No one's seeing it. Of course, my books aren't growing because there's no audience. One day, maybe the videos will go through the roof. Maybe they won't. But let's say they do. It might be the thing that's a catalyst and helps my books grow. And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh my God, things are improving. But it ain't yet. And it hasn't been for a long time, like ever. Let's be real. So let's be transparent about book sales, shall we? Because you can see why I'm deeply pissed. You don't write 6 books and literally have no success at all, and yet expect it to then, let's go through another sacrifice period and get another one done. All the joy. Let's do that. That's great. I'm sure that's going to be successful. I'm sure I felt that 6 times before. Let's ruin like my period leading up to Christmas and be absolutely exhausted. Let's just not take any joy and just work. Let's do this shit. Let's be abused. Let's go through this. That's how it feels to me. Let's just abuse me tirelessly. Just do it, man. Let's keep whipping him. He'll just keep doing this shit for us. Oh, yeah. Do I look like an idiot? Fool me once, fool me 6 times. You ain't fooling me a 7th. You could argue it's for your best, for your highest good, but tell me where the highest good comes in all this shit. This one here, let's have a look, because what I've done here is this. You got today, nothing. Oh, that's surprising. I really expected something. Of course, it's the morning, but either way. Yesterday, nothing. Surprising. This month, one. Now, like I said, the Losing Mind to Find Your Soul recently has been the bigger one, but it's still random. It's still not that many. If you look, it was on the 13th, I think it says there. 13th one sold in America. So that's the one that's been selling. It sold a few copies in America. I think I sold maybe 5 copies last month. Before that, nothing, probably 1, nothing. That's the story of it all. People probably don't realise that. When I say how frustrated I am, it's a joke. So that person isn't a joke. I appreciate people investing in themselves, because I see that as they're not investing in me, but investing in them. Hopefully they've taken from it what they can. I mean, if I was suggesting one book, it probably would be that book, even though part of me felt like deactivating that book to try to force people to actually read the other books. But no, because it's spiritual, I think it really helps people on that journey. And because it's within that book, there'll be other elements. So I think if you're talking about personal growth and development, I think that's the ultimate one, because within spirituality, you're going to develop and heal anyway. So the other books are focused on other areas of life. But I think if you're going to talk about like culmination of all, it's that one. So it makes sense. But again, that's going to change my life. One book sale. Again, not insulting the person who bought the book, because I do appreciate that, But in terms of maybe, if we're talking about maybe spirit helping me sell some books, doing a great job. And that's what I'm showing there. Like, you've got YouTube is absolutely stagnant as shit. So why would I create? Like, I enjoy doing what I do, so I do it. And I don't think, if you're asking me, do you think you're going to be unsuccessful and maybe hidden in the shadows forever? No, I don't. And there will be a day when people just happen across my content. And I wouldn't be surprised if a day comes then when the books go viral and people just like, who is this guy? I've never heard of him. And it's like, I've been fighting to be seen for ages, because I want to help people. But by the time I get seen, I might just be gone. Like, I might just down tools. Like, I just completely gone onto a different part of my life, I might just either, who knows what I'll be doing. But it just might be that I don't want to do it anymore. So like I've said in other videos, it might be like a publishing deal. Maybe someone comes across my content and they think, oh, look, I love these books. I wonder like if we can do a deal, maybe publish them into stores and things like that. Or maybe we can come up with an exclusive where maybe you can write a couple of books for us. And it's like, it's like, that's great if I'm doing it. But if you're asking me at a time when I haven't done it for a while and I don't give a shit, then no. No, it's too late. It's not your fault it's too late, but the universe should have moved shit along quicker. And it's the same with the videos. Maybe someone sees my videos and there's a chance to do like a more professional podcast or something else, or there's just something big in the media. Who knows? And by that point, my camera's been turned off, my microphone's gone, I've just gone. Like, no, I'm not coming back. You know, it's like most things are about timing, aren't they? And it's like I'm not an idiot. I've given so much of my time, so it might be by the time people finally see me, if they see me, it just might be a little bit too late. But yeah, I think obviously there's always the potential that things can be successful, but it's like this other book. It's a hard to finish. It's a grind, and I don't want to. I've never liked working on things in the winter anyway. It's usually been spring, get a bit more life in you, you know. Now it's more about just hunkering down and just like existing. I don't want to work my ass off. But to get that book done means I have to forego that. And I feel like I've given all year to everything, you know, the videos for specifically for sure. But so many years of kicking my ass to do the books. And I see the potential in this one for sure. And I'm thinking that could really help people. But I've got to balance it sometimes. Is the potential of helping people sort of like worth my misery to an extent? And it's like sometimes you would say yes because it's selfless, but then sometimes it's like I've done it long enough though. I don't owe it to them. I've done enough. You know, you can't just I can't have that dangled over my head every year. You know, yeah, but it's for a bigger cause. Oh, okay. So you're just naturally exhausted all the time, never truly happy, get resentful. So where's my support though? Now, you can argue you're supporting other people, but when it comes down to it, you think, but where's my support? Surely it should be reciprocated. It can't just be like, I give, 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 give. And I'm always suffering. And no, I thought about it earlier or last night, and it was like, if people are not going to invest in me and support me, I'm investing in me. So I'll always have my back. So when I say it's time to stop, it's time to stop because no one else will do it for me. Universe will always want me working. They'll always want me doing things for the world and doing this and that. Don't worry about anything. It'll all come at the right time. Oh, that's good for you because you see a different picture to me. But to me, I'm pissed today. And you expect me to work my ass off? I've decided today, no. But that's great that you see something different. Because I'm not a puppet, you know? And it might be disappointing and it might change the outcome. Like maybe it was supposed to happen and maybe a door was going to open. You just didn't see it. And now because you stopped, that door don't open. It's like, I couldn't give a shit. I don't care. Make the vision clearer. Make it fairer along the way, you know. This is ridiculous. So, yeah. And I just honestly can't see the logic that one more book is going to change the whole outlook. It's like, come on. I've no doubt the other book will help. And maybe, look, there could be multiple reasons. It might be the fact that once you're doing well, it'd be harder to relate to your hardship. So maybe you should have wrote it in your hardship. All those things. And I can get that. I understand that to a degree. But it didn't have to be this hard. Now, maybe from a higher perspective, maybe it did have to be this hard because you finally set the boundaries. Like maybe that is what I was supposed to do. Maybe it's finally setting the boundaries to realize my value. I don't know, but it's a harsh lesson to get there, isn't it? But again, got there. So I guess the story of my life is that I'm the arsehole. And it's like, whatever. Whatever makes people sleep better at night. But it doesn't mean I'm going to stick around. Yeah. I mean, I really do enjoy creating videos. I just find it so disappointing that they get nowhere. Like, I love it. Even my gaming videos. I love sharing my games. I always think it might help open people's eyes to a specific game. If I think that one would be good for people who maybe don't play games. That's what it's about. It's not like showing anything off. It's more, I'm enjoying playing. Hopefully the enthusiasm will rub off, or maybe that game will be interesting and you'll go and check it out yourself and things like that. And I really enjoy it. But then it's like the hassle of setting it all up, recording it, sharing it. There's a whole process involved, you know. And sometimes it slows me down because I think, oh, if I wasn't thinking about that, I would have played it all by now. I'd have finished it. But I always feel like, oh, I'm going to save that for people. I'm always doing that in my life. I'm saving this for people. I'm saving that for people. It's always like people come before me on the collective. Not like I was talking about a specific individual, but the collective. And I'm sick and tired of holding myself back just because I feel like I need to hold myself accountable all the time to something, you know, and it's always got to be available. And it's like, I don't want that shit anymore. So literally I was saying to the universe, I'm done. I'm done. I'm not being like this anymore where I'm struggling every day. I'm recognizing that money's my biggest crisis at the moment. The thing that's frustrating me more than anything. So I'm going to do something about it. So it's probably going to be that I stop doing this shit for a while. Like I've given it too much. I'm getting nowhere. Like money wise, it's not. If that's the thing I want, this isn't giving me it. I'm not saying money's obviously the thing you want in life overall, but there are periods of our life when we want it and it's going to be useful. And it's like, I want that now. I'm sick and tired of waiting for shit. I feel like I've earned something. And if the universe isn't going to reward me, I'm going to reward me. So it's going to, I am going to probably stop with the books. I'm probably going to stop with the videos for a while, at least anything deep. It might still be gaming shit every now and again. I really don't know. But overall, I think this is all going to come to an end. And like I said before, once things start happening like that, there's no guarantee of return. So I'm probably going to just jump back into traditional work, even though it irritates the shit out of me, but it's a means to an end in the meantime. And I've done it so many times before. I've just got to get comfortable with it, the idea of it, and then I'll find something. It's really the fact that I talk about it a lot. You end up living this double life. You're elevated beyond a previous circumstance, but the door hasn't opened to the new journey. So you see flaws and issues and things you used to have to do to make money. And you can't see yourself doing that anymore because it's so meaningless, you know? It's so pointless to a degree. But the other door hasn't opened yet, so now you find yourself struggling as a consequence. But you can't do two at once. It's impossible. It really is. So if this isn't going to elevate my life, then I'm going to have to find a way to elevate it myself, and it's going to have to be going backwards to go forward to a degree. But I'm not going to keep doing this yin and yang shit. I might just find myself stuck on a forklift in a warehouse for the rest of my life, and I make peace with it. Like, I took a time out to help people. I'll just go on my own little journey, stay in my own little bubble, just living my own life, just doing that. I don't mind being in the shadows. Just I don't need to be in the spotlight all the time. You know, some people I think maybe think I do. I want that all the time. I don't give a shit. So living a simple life is just as fulfilling if you can find something that's not pissing you off every day. You know, and you find something that works around you. So me working a warehouse forklift, for instance, if it's during the day or an early start, that's fine. Me working late evenings and nights, I don't want that shit. That would just annoy me. You're losing so much of your day and life. It's like, then what? You're working for the weekend? What's the point of that shit? If you can have plenty of time in the evening and you've got your weekends off, I think that's fine, isn't it? That is for me, as long as the job don't suck too much. But again, it's finding the things that are going to bring us joy and fulfill us, and it's actually literally ticks the boxes to our life. And that's what I'm finding. I can't keep waiting on a miracle. Life's too short. Genuinely, you know. 42, you know. I mean, people might think that's too old, but it's not going to be everybody's lifespan. It's just, life goes so quick. I'll always be proud of what I've done, and I've worked my ass off to do it. But, you know, you can only keep repeating the same pattern over and over before you go, enough's enough. It doesn't mean the next book is never going to come out, because there might be periods when I work on it. Like, even this year, there might be days when I go, you know what? I'm going to get on with it. I'm never going to feel, though, that I should have done it, though. So, like, if I get to the end of the year and I got so close to releasing it and I just missed it, and I go, usually I'd probably be annoyed with myself. Like, if you just sucked it up, it's not. I know how this year's been. And I know if I'm frustrated one day, it deserved that. I deserve to feel that way. Like, I deserve to process that emotion. It's not, don't forego your healing journey because you want to be perfect all the time. No. If it didn't, I actually made peace with it last night because I thought about it before that I wouldn't want gaps. If there's a chance to do it, every year for 6 years has been books. So that gap might annoy me, but actually I thought about it and I thought that gap actually might make me reflect every time. There's always a gap. Why was there a gap? Because I was pissed off. I was being taken for granted. You know, I felt insulted. And I'll remember that forever. If that gap's there, that'll be a marker, like a checkpoint, a bookmark, to say you was pissed off that year, and it'll make me reflect on everything that's happened up to that moment. And then maybe there'll be success in the future, and I'll, you know, that was the growing period. So I actually don't think it's coming out this year, just because there's just little time now. And I'm not motivated to touch the book at all. Like, there might be days when I do a little bit here, but it's not going to be enough. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. And it could be done, but I don't want to do it. So I doubt it'd be done. So I doubt anyone's waiting on the books. I don't think anyone's even seen my videos yet. But if anyone's curious about the next one, I can't guarantee when it comes or if it comes. And by extension, any that follow after. Because right now, I just don't give a shit. And again, I'm the arsehole.